So aside from being a big car guy and a big tech guy, my other big hobby is watches. And I've always noticed that watch people and car people think almost the exact same ways. Ask a watch guy what they like and they'll say, I like Japanese watches because they're reliable, or Swiss Euro watches are luxury. Vintage Soviet watches are weird but indestructible. Stuff like the Vostok Amphibia. It's crude, it's basic, looks like it came out of Cold War factory and somehow is still ticking decades later. Then you've got the novelty watches, you know, the weird ones. Watches that exist purely because watches are culture, their personality and their expression. Car people talk in literally the exact same way. I like Japanese cars because they're reliable. European cars, well, I like them because they're luxury, they're prestige. And then there are the oddball cult classics, the Lada Niva of the car world. Bad in a lot of ways, but they are impossible to kill. And then there's China. 10 years ago, Chinese cars had a reputation and it wasn't flattering. Cheap interiors, weak build quality, questionable reliability. They felt en masse unfinished. You had obvious styling copies. Have you seen the Landwind Range Rover clone or the Lifan Mini Cooper lookalike? Those cars were so easy to dismiss. And the watch world has gone through a very similar phase. There's been a wave of homage watches that looked impressive in photos but didn't hold up in person. Rough finishing, loose tolerances, built to hit a price and not a standard. And here's the part that people don't like to hear and say out loud. Everyone has copied. Industrial history is full of imitation phases. Swiss watchmaking copied the British watchmaking. Japan copied Swiss movements and eventually outperformed them during the quartz crisis. Every manufacturing powerhouse learned by copying first and then refining later. So honestly, China didn't invent copying, they just did it recently enough that we still remember it. But honestly, what matters isn't that the copying has happened. What matters is what happens after. And over the last decade, the speed of improvement in Chinese manufacturing has been so hard to ignore. I've owned 3 Chinese cars. One of them was a dud, the Jack T9. That still happens. But my other 2, my Cherry Tiggo 4, which I got at a really good price because of CarSauce Buy, shout out CarSauce Buy, scan the QR code, and also my BYD Atto 1, both of these have been genuinely competent cars. Neither have been perfect, but engineered with intent. Today, I own the BYD Atto 1, which is called the Seagull in China, and on my wrist is the Seagull 1963 chronograph. These 2 products, they tell the same story because in both watches and cars, the product is built around 2 foundations. In watches, the movement is the drivetrain, it's the mechanical core, it's where precision manufacturing matters most. But finishing, like the casework, the dial quality and assembly, is just as important. A great movement inside a badly finished watch still feels cheap, and a beautiful case with a bad movement is just a decoration. The best watches get both right. And cars follow the exact same formula. The battery, the engine, the drivetrain are the movement. That is the engineering foundation, but the build quality, materials, panel finish, software polish, that's the finishing. That's what you interact with every day. And strong engineering does not excuse bad execution. And nice materials cannot hide the weak fundamentals. So the companies that succeed long-term, well, they get both right. And this is where Seagull as a company becomes interesting. Now, to be clear, this video is not sponsored. I actually reached out to Seagull as a massive watch nerd and they sent me this review unit. I also managed though to negotiate 12% off for all of you guys watching if you want to buy something from them. So just click the link below and use code CarSauce for 12% off if you want to buy one. But this thing has an insane history. The Seagull 1963, it came from a military aviation project. In the early 1960s, China commissioned a chronograph for Air Force pilots under what has become known as the 304 project. Around 1,400 of these watches were produced and issued. This wasn't designed as a fashion watch like it is now, it was a pilot's instrument. And at its core, the movement, or the engine, is the ST19 column wheel chronograph movement. For those who don't know, column wheel chronographs are mechanically complex. They're harder to manufacture than simpler cam systems and require tighter tolerances. That choice choice alone shows that the focus was capability and not shortcuts. The ST19 itself has a very interesting origin. It traces back to a Swiss chronograph design from the mid-20th century that China acquired and then industrialized. Instead of abandoning mechanical watchmaking during the quartz crisis like many Western manufacturers, Chinese factories kept producing and refining these movements at scale. And that decision paid off decades later. Today, Seagull is not a niche brand. In fact, they are the #1 watch brand in China, and they're one of the largest mechanical movement manufacturers in the world. Not just watches, movements. The engine of the watch industry. And that's why the comparison to BYD makes so much sense. BYD doesn't just assemble electric cars. They build the batteries. They control huge parts of the supply chain. That vertical integration is a big reason that BYD recently overtook Tesla as the largest manufacturer of electric-only vehicles. And it goes further. Brands like Kia, they use BYD batteries in the Kia EV5, for example. Toyota has been in talks with BYD about plug-in hybrid technology. Companies that define the last era of the car industry are now sourcing from the companies defining the next one, which happens to be in China. The watch industry has its own version of that shift. For a long time, Chinese watches have been treated as disposable, really up until probably the last 5 years. Now what you're seeing are modern Chinese movements with finishing that's improving every single year. You've got cleaner machining, better assembly consistency, sharper casework, and China really recently shocked the watch world by developing its own tourbillon at scale, which is one of the most complex mechanical complications in watchmaking. Essentially, it's meant to defy gravity. And the craziest part is tourbillons used to be a symbol of Swiss exclusivity, and then seeing it produced industrially in China changed how a lot of collectors view Chinese watchmaking. Not long ago, the cheapest tourbillon was about 20,000 euros, and today you can get one for like 700 Australian dollars. Mind-blowing. And honestly, you can see the quality differences even within watches that look similar. Take this Seagull 1963 and the Seacoss 1963. On paper, they both use the ST19 movement. Got the same architecture, same heritage. The Seacoss is cheaper. You can purchase it through AliExpress like I did. For someone looking at the spec sheets though, they might seem interchangeable. But when you handle them side by side, the differences become obvious. The Seagull has better finishing. It's got sharper case polishing, more consistent dial printing, better assembly tolerance. The experience is tighter, more deliberate. The Seacoss isn't bad, don't get me wrong, but it is definitely built to hit a price point. The Seagull is built to represent a manufacturer. That difference matters. Cars follow the same pattern. Two vehicles can share core engineering and feel completely different depending on the execution. For example, if you kept the powertrain, took the body off of a BYD Shark 6 and put a Jack T9 body on it, obviously your experience is gonna be worse. Fit, finish, and calibration, that's really where that maturity shows up. And that's the stage that Chinese manufacturing is entering now. What's changed is consistency and really expertise. You're seeing companies that can build complex engineering and execute it really well. Not occasionally, but repeatedly. And that's when the global industry starts to pay attention. Most people don't realize how much of the watch industry is already tied into Chinese manufacturing. Even European and Japanese brands rely heavily on Chinese case production, assembly, or components. You can have a Japanese movement in a watch that was assembled and finished in China and yet somehow sold under a European brand name. That same thing is happening in cars. Supply chains are global. Batteries, electronics, software, components. The ecosystem is interconnected. The difference now is that Chinese companies aren't just suppliers, they're brand leaders. And when you look at the Seagull watch and the Seagull car side by side, you're seeing two industries telling the same story. A manufacturing ecosystem that has scaled quickly, it has learned quickly, and now competes globally in categories people did not take seriously before. So if your mental image of made in China is stuck in the early 2010s, you're honestly missing out on what is happening right now. This isn't hype, it's just observation. The Seagull on my wrist and the Seagull in my driveway aren't novelty products. They're not to be laughed at. They're examples of companies that have invested heavily in engineering and execution, started by copying, but the movement and the finishing, the drivetrain and the build quality has now surpassed all of their competitors in so many ways. And the question going forward isn't whether Chinese engineering is competitive, it's actually how the rest of the industry responds. And we can see that because brands like BMW, Mercedes, and Audi look at the Chinese car manufacturers now and are thinking, we've got to do something. What I want to know though is what you think about Chinese manufacturing in general. You're probably old enough to remember when everyone snubbed Chinese manufacturing, and look at it now. It is absolutely insane, and I can say that as someone who has bought and sold many, many cars from many different regions, and also, of course, watches. Like I said, if you want to buy one of these, I'll leave a link down below. Use the code CarSauce. You don't want to miss out on that 12% discount. Like the video, please, and share it with a friend. It really, really helps the channel out and is totally free to do. And subscribe if you're new. We'd love to have you around. But yeah, I thought an interesting comparison coming from a big car, tech, and watch guy. Ciao for now.